So we are a couple minutes after the hour, so we're going to get started now. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone, depending upon where you're joining us from. We're excited to have you here today. Our goal for this session is to show how COX Communication is utilizing Irth's UtiliSphere platform to streamline the management of 811 locate tickets and improve its overall damage prevention operations. We do encourage questions throughout the webinar. Please drop those in the Q&A panel, and we will address those as they come through. For those of you who may not be familiar, COX is one of the largest telecom and cable providers in the United States, serving customers across more than 20 states. Joining us today from COX are Kevin Caldwell, Manager of Vendor Management for OSP Locating, and Brandon Peterson, Supervisor of Vendor Management. My name is Nick Hubert. I'm the Account Executive with Irth Solutions, focused on new business. I come with a background in damage prevention and field services. Kevin and Brandon, I will hand it over to you. You guys can introduce yourselves, share a little bit about your background, your roles, and then Brandon, we'll let you kick off the presentation.
Excellent. Thanks, Nick. Hi, my name is Kevin Caldwell. As mentioned, I'm the manager of our vendor management group, specifically within our OSP locating operations. I have a team spread out nationwide. Our primary focus is providing as a liaison with our OSP locating vendors that we partner with, as well as our internal construction departments and other boundary partners internally to COX, as well as extra regulatory functions outside of COX, state 811 centers, etc. The main goal of my team is just to help facilitate the entire 811 ticket locating process. And obviously we use Irth as our ticket management system to help facilitate that. This is an organization that actually was not even in existence until about 4 years ago. We put this team together to better manage the ticket process and all the different functions thereof. So I've been with COX for just over 20 years. Again, this team's been up and running for about 4 years, with the exception of my colleague Brandon Peterson, who oversees our screening functions. That's a relatively new addition to our vendor management family. I'll let Brandon take it from there and tell a little bit of what he does.
Thank you, Kevin and Nick. My name is Brandon Peterson. I've been with COX now for over 20 years. In the past 6 months, I've been given the opportunity to take on a new 811 screening team across the entire nation, where the team essentially will go in and manually screen tickets that are submitted to 811 centers for viability and whether or not those tickets really do need a locator to be on site. So the team kind of goes through and looks at essentially background information and all sorts of stuff on each ticket to kind of help make sure the best tickets are actually front and center. So without further ado on that, I think I'll probably just get started on the slideshow because I don't want anything to kind of get lost ahead of that time. So why don't we go ahead and get started there? On a new team of 811 screeners. That team allows us to basically clear out anywhere from 5 to 10% plus of available tickets in a queue. It's all dependent on parameters and what people have set up. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it does really add up to large savings overall. Some of the things that we found when we first started putting together screening is that there's a few things that we need to make sure that our screeners have the ability to do right out the gate. For one thing, we needed to make sure that our screeners did not have dynamic routing, that our screeners had the ability to pick and choose, just to make sure that they can look through the queues, they can look through the tickets, and they can find the ones that have the best fit for what we're looking for. The second thing would be is have some creation of tickets in queues separated by a priority type, whether that's like a low, medium, or high, as well as emergency tickets, just so that we can look in specific areas and know where we're going to find our best option. And then last is to look for tickets that have a related history and make sure that related history is enabled. That allows us to be able to look at tickets and see whether or not a locator was already on site. And as that locator was on site, they may have already cleared the ticket because we were nowhere near it. And then we can clear those as well instead of sending them back out to be located a second time. So using Irth, a couple of the high-level things that we put together is a specific splash page. We put together a splash page that the screeners are able to look at with key information on it. That splash page is customizable for what you feel is necessary for your screeners. It's customizable for what you feel is necessary for the folks who are looking at those tickets. On my splash page, I put together some viable information such as ticket, work type, address information, and even the GPS coordinates, because sometimes the address is not completely there. Sometimes it's just a North Morrison Road instead of an actual address. So having those GPS coordinates help us to get a little bit closer. We can even look at who was first open for that ticket to make sure that we're not stepping on each other's toes as we're looking through the queues, excavators' names, and even done for, so we can kind of look and see, who's the utility that's doing that ticket and who's the excavator. So if there's a common excavator that provides decent notes or that we don't need to do a lot of stuff, we can kind of look at those excavators and, be able to screen those out as best as possible. The other thing that our screening team, besides queues, needs to have access to, things that really do help out, is advanced searches. And Irth has been amazing on being able to allow us to do advanced searches, customized advanced searches per user, that allow us to be able to kind of dig into the current available tickets that are in the queue and look for specific phrases, specific words, and also remove tickets that we don't want to see. For instance, some of the stuff that we found is it's always good to have a creation date on those tickets to make sure we're only looking at today's tickets. Status, we don't want to look at closed tickets. Obviously, we want to look at tickets that are pending research. And then person assigned to, we have it set up to remove anybody that is, anybody in the queue, because we want tickets that are not assigned to anyone. As far as that goes, the only other piece that we kind of move around, and I'll move it to this next screen so we can see it, is the work type or the ticket text. Those are two different things. The work type, we're able to do what's called a contain search, and that looks at the main ticket type of what somebody typed in, and we can look for something that contains a specific word. For instance, water meter. We even found things like landscaping. It's really good to kind of get to a point where we're only spelling part of the word, because then it actually captures both sides of it. So if we only go to LANDSCAP, it'll actually capture landscape and landscaping in our system. The other piece is ticket text. Ticket text is always set to contains, but the nice thing about ticket text is it's going to look for similar words, but inside of the text of the ticket. And those kind of help us to be able to kind of narrow down, am I looking for pools? Am I looking for telephone poles? Am I looking for front yards, backyards, stump grinding, things that to where they're not going to need a lot of space, but because of how 811 centers are set up, they're kind of spread out and showing a lot of space across the front. So these help us to narrow down and get to very specific types of tickets and maximize our clear potentials. And these are all done using that magnifying glass and all built into Irth, which is as far as just saving it. And you can even have multiple save searches. You don't need to keep one in there and keep changing the one. You can have multiple save searches with multiple named save searches that you can just keep switching between inside of Irth. Now, once you have your queue, and here at COX, we assign tickets to ourselves because we want to make sure that we have a tracking mechanism to be able to track, when the screener started looking at the ticket to when they closed that ticket out or sent it to the vendor, whichever is viable. But once they have that, then once they assign the ticket to themselves, they can go into the assigned to me queue that's built into Irth, and they can take a look at the inside of the ticket to kind of see what it looks like. They can Irth has the entire 811 center notes front and center, the excavator notes, the essentially what they're looking for and what we're looking to be able to build into the ticket as far as what they want out of the ticket, I should say. Irth has a built-in map that allows us to be able to look at not only the map of the area that they're looking for with multiple layers, including street views, but Irth also has the ability to merge in our plant maps so we can kind of see those plant maps behind the scene. Now, with every system, when you're looking at it, we like to make sure that we're taking multiple looks at multiple different parameters. So, for instance, the screener team will still look at the internal plant maps that COX has, just to make sure that nothing has changed, potentially missed in an update or needs to be updated. So we'll kind of look at both. But the other thing is we always want to look at a street view, and there's a nice little quick, easy button in Irth to be able to go right to that street view. Be able to look at the overhead view of the street, be able to zoom into the street. And essentially what we're looking for is we're looking for drop lines, or we're looking for risers that may have gotten missed or maybe sitting there that we didn't know about. And it's just that one extra layer. And mind you, when screeners start doing this and they start looking at these tickets, on average, a screener's been able to get through a ticket between 1 and 3 minutes for the most part. Some tickets can take a little bit longer, but for the most part, a screener who's been doing this for a few months and beyond, they can get this dialed in to about 1 to 3 minutes per ticket as far as the screening goes, maximizing screens that they clear out per day. This continues what we've been talking about as far as just the other stuff, but I do want to add in, Irth put in some great stuff for us. So once we've cleared that ticket and we've been able to essentially determine whether or not it needs to go to our vendor or not, Irth has a quick drop-down menu built right into the top of the ticket that allows us to either choose what we call clear in office, which means it's not going to be sent out to the vendor and it's going to submit a positive response to the 811 center that it's clear, or send to vendor, which means it's going to send it to our vendor via their email and the appropriate matters and send that update to the 811 center as well. There's also some quick key icons in there to where the actual team itself can do a control C, or not, sorry, not control C, but just the C key or the 7 key on the actual ticket itself, and we'll be able to do that. Again, continuing on just those quick icons that we talked about previously. Now, again, I just want to make sure that as far as orange operators, that's what our team calls itself here at COX. We do assign tickets to ourselves to make sure that we are able to track time spent on those tickets. Screeners can mass assign and even mass clear or mass move tickets via the main splash page. There's little check boxes on the main splash page, as well as similar drop-down buttons on that main to choose actions for those tickets. We handle that sparingly just to make sure that we're not overloading a screener with too many tickets at once. So for instance, we kind of set our guidelines where a screener should not be assigning more than maybe 3 to 5 tickets at a time, just to make sure they're not over utilizing those. And that kind of brings us to the end. As far as our screening goes, as far as what our screeners do, they being able to look through tickets, being able to look through the maps, being able to utilize Irth and maximize the potentials that we have in Irth, we are able to see and clear quite a bit of tickets that add up on a daily basis. So with that being said, I'll bring us back to Q&A and kind of let us talk about stuff.
Yeah, Brandon, we got a couple of questions in the session. The first one, what are your year one screening goals for the team? I would assume from a volume perspective.
Well, from a volume perspective in year one, we're on our side, we're expecting to be able to clear essentially around that 10% of whatever is inside of the queue itself. So it's whatever tickets you have in the 811 center, it's whatever tickets you have out there, but we're looking to kind of clear out 10% of those as not needing to go to our vendor for actual located in the field.
Excellent. Next question we got was, while the screeners are looking at the ticket, you hide the visibility of the ticket until it is assigned.
No, on our side, we leave that open. We want screeners to be able to look at the queues and look at those tickets. They're all able to see everything. That's why we kind of built certain things in there to be able to see who opened a ticket and who assigned a ticket, just to make sure we're not stepping on each other's toes. The screeners on my side, as far as the COX side is concerned, using those tools have been very good at being able to stay kind of working around each other to maximize what they can do throughout the day.
Next question you have, Brandon, is where is your screening center?
So if we're talking about the 811 screeners, we are remote. We have folks across the entire country that will screen essentially every area that COX has available that is viable for screening. But essentially, but if we're talking about the actual 811 screeners, it's everywhere where COX has service that we're utilizing, every state. But this is a role that, honestly, working remote by those screeners is best to be able to keep them busy and keep them looking through stuff.
Here's a good one. We actually this was a good consideration. Brandon, how would you avoid your team cherry picking easier tickets to screen?
Well, at the end of the day, we kind of want our team to cherry pick easier tickets to screen, but we want them to be able to look through those tickets and pull out good tickets that they're working on. When it comes down to it, cherry picking easy tickets are viable tickets for good quality screens, and you're going to save the most money on those. They're not going to last forever. When it comes down to it, there's parameters put in place, and so the team is going to have to move to harder tickets throughout the day to be able to try to look for tickets they can screen elsewhere. But to make this viable, to make it quality, you need to be able to cherry pick and look for those low hanging fruits to be able to screen them out.
Excellent. This next question also may piggyback on a previous one. Do you have any automation to always assign or clear certain categories of tickets?
Mostly
So in current state, no, but we are working on putting that implemented into place.
And if I may add, that may add to a previous question about what's next for Irth and COX. Actively looking at what kind of automation we can put in place for that.
Yeah, I would definitely say what's next is automation support to be able to help clear out some of those low-hanging fruit, to be able to help get rid of some of the potential noise for tickets that you cannot clear, and that way your screeners are kind of looking at the the middle ground of what they need to be able to look at, the ones that can't be easily cleared.
Here's another good one, Brandon. What have you learned? What would you have implemented differently? Not to put you on the spot or anything.
I know. I'm trying to think of what we have learned. I mean, in all fairness, I will tell you this. We kind of learned the Irth tool on the fly. It launched for us in October, and we were kind of going through the motions as best we could. Within a month, we had learned about the advanced search filters with the help of Irth support, and we learned how to be able to kind of utilize those to be able to make better screening opportunities. So if I would have done something different, it would have been able to have those advanced searches right out the gate, be able to put them right front and center when we launch the tool itself.
A lot of questions coming in. We're trying to keep up with all of them. But Brandon, here's one. Do you have issues keeping up when ticket volume is high? How do you approach that?
Well, so we only have 12 screeners. When ticket volume is high, there's a pre-built-in queue that automatically sends tickets out after a certain time frame. So if ticket volume is high and screeners are not able to get to every single ticket, the system will still automatically send those tickets out to our vendor to be located. We may have missed the opportunity to clear them, but they're still going to be held up to 811 standards and still be located in the field. So the one key takeaway with that question too is Screeners are not going to be able to get to every single ticket. They're going to do their best to handpick what they can look at, and there's still going to be a volume of tickets that can be, still sent out automatically to those vendors. So.
We have another question. I think we already answered this, but have you investigated any tools such as AI to automate the screening process rather than manual screening?
Yeah, that's what we're currently in the process of working on.
And that kind of falls in line with that other question. What's next with COX and Irth combined?
Yep.
Do you have any QA measures to ensure the proper tickets are being screened, Brandon?
Yes. It's not just the proper tickets are being screened, but it's also to make sure that the screeners themselves are not basically making a mistake potentially, because they are human and they are manually looking at a ticket. When this team was brand new, we were basically QAing 100% of the actual screening team's work between leadership and other VMA supports here at COX. As the team grew and as they started to learn their role, we've reduced that to about 2% of what the actual screening team does in a day. So if I were to say that I look at 24 tickets a day that the screening team did just to make sure that they were accurate, that's pretty close to what I look at. And it's just a QA just to make sure that the screening team is not making a potential mistake or overstepping or getting a little bit too aggressive on what they think they can clear.
Okay. This one's a toughie for you, Brandon. How significant are the impacts of, quote, same address and, quote, adjacent address tickets? Do recent in-office clears help accelerate decision-making on current tickets?
Yep, they do actually. And the nice part about same address and adjacent address tickets is they're still viable clears in the system. They're still or viable sent to vendors. So if you've got an address that continually comes back as a revision, or if you got an address that gets modified, the locator in the field is still going to charge for those tickets. So they're still viable clears for us to be able to clear them in the background and save money overall as well. And yes, it does accelerate, especially when you can go take a look at the ones that may have already been cleared in the field as well. That's the nice part about Irth and the notes that they provide. You can see notes of the entire history of each ticket.
Brandon, if you auto clear tickets based on some criteria, do you run into issues where a ticket was cleared based on that criteria? Shouldn't it have been?
Well, in current state, we're not auto clearing tickets. We haven't gotten that far yet. We will make sure that we set up proper guardrails and boundaries to develop that and make sure it's doing things accurately. But like we said before on the QA side, we had those guardrails and then we kind of loosened up the reins on the manual screeners just to make sure that those criteria are met properly. And in the beginning, we had what we called reversions. It was a lot of tickets that probably shouldn't have been cleared, but that has grown significantly less. If I were to say that we're down to 0.1% of all the screens that the screeners do in a month that need to be reverted, that's pretty close to what we're at right now.
I am seeing a number of questions come in regarding volume numbers, etc. Just a quick disclaimer. We actually are not at liberty to share volumes at this point. It's public knowledge. COX Communications is currently in talks with another provider. And until that gets sorted out, we can't share specific volumes. Financially or ticket volume. So I apologize for that advance. Let me see here. Brandon, here's another one. How do you determine the facility priority?
That's determined on the back end by the plant maps and stuff that we offer to Irth that they build into the tool, as well as the 811 center rules and regulations for that area. So there are priority levels that are built into those as we integrate into the system, and then Irth provides those priority levels built into it as the tools come out.
All right, this most recent question. When your customer has called in an 811 ticket to dig, and the screening process is in error, and there's actually a live line, does that affect the 811 center in any way?
So if I'm reading that correctly, are we asking like if we made a mistake and there was a damage to the actual line on the outside?
Yes.
I mean, it does. I mean, it doesn't really. What it affects on the 811 center side is if there is a damage, then the person who called in the ticket is going to alert the 811 center. They're going to alert the vendors to come out and verify that, and then there could potentially be a repair in motion. I can tell you that since we have started screening all of this, we've only had one damage related to screening tickets. I'll knock on as much wood to make sure that luck stays true as far as everything goes, just because we know that. But yes, since screening has started, we've only had one damage that's related to a clear that should not, potentially have been cleared. Past that, vendors and utilities also don't want to have damages. So oftentimes when a utility is outside or an excavator is on site, they may also call in to share information ahead of time if we may have accidentally cleared a ticket that we shouldn't have, based on those relationships.
Excellent. This one kind of speaks to your process, Brandon. Is the person who made the 811 request notified that the ticket has been screened, i.e. through positive response?
Yes. So the positive response or PR code will go to the 811 center, and it'll be listed under COX Communications for whatever that cleared or no conflict, whatever the area determines for those PR codes. Yep. Now, in some cases, I will add to that, in some cases when the instructions are unclear or we're trying to figure out, the screener team has the authorization to call the excavator and just get additional information and have those conversations. So they may be alerted there, but those are few and far between when we try to call. Most of the time, the information is built into the ticket and the PR code goes to the 811 center.
Here's one I missed, but this is a good one from Tabitha. Do you have a service level for screening tickets? For example, Rogers Screening Center has a max of 24 hours to work a ticket. After 24 hours, the ticket is auto sent to a locator.
We do, and it's based off of each area that we're in, and we're currently in the process of trying to figure out additional steps on that. Right now, emergency tickets, I'll tell you, are right around 30 minutes, and they're auto sent out if we don't touch them, and then everything else is around a 2-hour window, that if we don't touch it, it automatically goes to the vendor. But to your point, every state has a different response that's required by the actual locate company and the utility, and we're currently in the process of seeing what kind of adjustments we can make.
Brandon, it looks like we have addressed all the questions that have come in. So Nick, I think we're good. If we missed any, we apologize. Tried to keep up with the scroll on the side.
So just wanted to wrap up and thank everyone once again for jumping on today, listening and learning through our webinar. There was a question about if this recording is going to be shared. It will be published on our YouTube page. So you can go ahead and watch it when it is published there. If there are additional questions or you want to learn more, please don't hesitate to contact sales at Irth Solutions. And that email for that is sales@earthsolutions.com. If you have additional questions or you want to learn more about our offerings, don't hesitate to reach out. But again, thank you everyone for your time, for jumping on, and enjoy the rest of your day. Kevin and Brandon, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take
care.
Have
a great day, all.